What will you do when God says no? Man, why did this have to happen to me? And this is an honest reaction. Like, what do you want? People, I want money. I'm like, cool, all right, yep. I'm like, but the true measure of your wealth is if you got it and you lost it, then how much would you be worth? I mean, how much is your character and your integrity worth? Because that's the most valuable possession that we got. I don't know what you want me to do. Exact prayer, I don't know what you want me to do. Because I know anybody can accept and embrace something that they do understand and that they know the end result. But I think true courage is when you find yourself in the midst of an opposition, piece of adversity or situation, and when you're in the midst of it, you're thinking, man, how did this happen and how did I get here? Even though I don't understand it, even though I don't like it, I can still trust God even though I can't trace God. My God, man, thought it was you. But this is what I've understood. In life, some people don't need you to preach a sermon, they need you to live one. And I come into my junior year, and I'm about to get exactly what I want. About to get this thing called NFL. Know what it really stands for? Not for long, right? That's what it really stands for, right? And I'm 10 games away from this dream that I wanted my whole life, right? This thing that I've been working for my whole life. My whole life is dedicated to this one game. I'm up Saturday mornings, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 miles to a fire station, 2 miles back home. I'm in the park, 9:30, 10 at night, doing everything in my life surrounded the game of football. I'm sitting at home at night, I'm throwing balls up to the ceiling, and I'm catching them different type of ways, trying to see if a receiver was to check me, if I wanted to catch an intercept. Like, everything revolved around this game, and I finally get in a position in my life to where now I'm 10 games away from it. I got the paperwork that states I'm about to be an NFL draft pick. NFL on top of the paper. Inky Johnson projected top 30, automatic multi-millionaire. Now all you have to do, the hard part's over, just play the next 10 football games, Ink. You made it. And I go out in a silly game against Air Force, 2 minutes left, and I go to make a tackle that I can make with my eyes closed. And I hit this guy, and as soon as I hit him, I knew it was a problem, but I didn't think it would be this type of problem. Like, you know how when things happen, you're like, I didn't expect that, but I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy. And when I hit him, every breath in my body left. My body goes completely limp. I fall to the ground. I blacked out. My eyes open. I'm still not, too concerned because it's football. I told Pastor, I never thought about a career-ending injury. You have injuries within the game. When my eyes open, guys run over, Ink, let's rock, man, let's go, let's finish him off. And I'm like, I can't. They're like, what do you mean you can't? You're a starting corner. Get up. You can nurse your injury after the game, man. I'm like, no, I can't. They said, what do you mean you can't? I said, I can't move. It's a shock, neck to my toes. I can't feel anything. Shock leaves. It stays in my right arm and hand. I'm like, maybe I got a bad stinger. They put me on the spine board, wheeling me off the field. Doctor says to me as he's walking beside me, I don't know how you're still alive, son. You don't have any pulse. Maneuver. We get to the ambulance. My father's standing there. I'm like, Pops, I laid it on him, right? I put it on him, right? My dad's like, yeah, but I think you got the worst part of this one, Ink. Doctor said, we're going to take you over, run a couple tests, bring you back into the room. Everything will be cool. They run the test. They bring me back into the room. Mom comes in, kisses, prays. Son, you'll be fine. She's going to walk out. Doctors rush in. Head boy says, hey, man, got to rush him back to surgery. He's about to die. And I look at him, and I want to ask him, like, man, you can't use another word? Like, use a synonym, brother. You got to say die. Like, you sure died, man? And he could tell from how I'm looking at him that I'm questioning. And he says to me, you ruptured a subclavian artery in your chest. You're bleeding internally. If we don't perform this surgery tonight, I guarantee you, you won't be here in the morning. From 7 years old to 20 years old, boiled down to one moment. The sacrifice, the dedication, the commitment came down to one moment. And the next morning I woke up from that surgery. The NFL on my scale of life, that big. SEC championship, that big. Cornerback, grade. I was embarrassed. I'm sitting there and people coming into my room like, Inky, man, I'm sorry about what happened to you. And I'm saying to myself, man, Inky, you really messed it up this time. Like, man, that's really the only thing you wanted, huh? Like, you just thought because you grew up in this so-called hood, 2-bedroom home, 14 people, like the only thing you really wanted was the NFL, that's it. I'm like, man, you limited God to that? Like, life holds no substance, no value? Like, efficient but not effective? I did things right, but I never did the right thing? And now the thing I placed my identity in, now it's gone. That's why I laugh at people when they say, man, if I could just get this, I'll be. Man, if I could just get this position, I'll be. Woo! Man, if I could just get this amount of money, I'll be. I'm like, woo. But what happens even if you get it or you don't get it? What happens when God says yes and no? Like, do you have the ability to accept what you don't understand? Can you still see God's plan when it didn't go the way that you thought it would go? Can you handle when things get off course? I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, man, I'm 8 games away and God is redirecting me. And I'm like, God, just let me get to the NFL, then redirect me. Like, let me get the contract, then redirect me so I can help my family. And God is like, no, son, I need you to really go that way. And I'm like, you sure? Like, man, I need to go this way. He's like, no, I need you to go this way. I got something greater for you. Now, it might take a little longer to manifest, but I got something even sweeter. Like, I got something more fulfilling. I got something more rewarding. I got something, son, that's going to carry you for the rest of your life. Like, it's an amazing thing. I knew this was what I was supposed to be doing when one day I'm backstage and I got the same feeling that I got when I used to be in the tunnel before I was running out of Neyland Stadium. And I said, thank you, God. Same feeling. And I thought it was over after football got redirected. My life got redirected 2-3 more times before I even fell into my purpose and my mission and what I was supposed to be doing. It got redirected 2-3 more times. I'm thinking I'm gonna be a coach. Just like every guy when he finishes the game, and I'll just coach. God's like, no, you ain't. And I met a gentleman one day in West Town Mall in Knoxville, and he came up to me and he was crying. It was me and Eric Berry. And when he was crying, I'll never forget, he said, I saw a little clip on the news, and I saw you laughing about what you went through. He said, I was going through something, and that really helped me. And he left, and when he said it, I walked off, and I said, God, if people view me in this way, I have to take myself a little more serious. If you only knew my father got saved because of my injury. If you only knew. My 3 boys that went first round to the NFL, all of them got saved. If you only knew. I'm talking about people trying to give me positions. People telling me, hey man, here, name your position, name it, write your job description, put your price on it. Like, people are trying to give it to me, and I'm praying, and the Lord will not give me peace. I'm like, Lord, this is easy. Nope, no peace. I'm like, well, maybe I'm supposed to go back to Atlanta and work in my neighborhood at the rec center. I'm calling the guy answered the phone. He's like, Inky, you should have left yesterday. I got you the job. I get to Atlanta, I call the guy, he don't answer the phone. I email him, he don't reply. Now I'm in Atlanta with my daughter, my wife, and we're living with my wife's grandmother in a small little 1-bedroom home, and my daughter is sleeping in a wagon that somebody bought her for her birthday because me and my wife couldn't afford a bed, and my wife is pregnant with our son. And I don't have a job. And I always tell the story about when my faith was fortified and my life went to another level, was the only thing I had at that moment was a prayer and a book. And the prayer that I prayed was, Lord, I don't know what you want me to do. Exact prayer, I don't know what you want me to do. But people keep coming to me, telling me, speak, Inky, you need to speak. And I'm like, I'm not speaking. The only thing I ask of you, as talented, as brilliant, as powerful, as beautiful as you are, never allow life to make you forget why you started in the first place. Meaning that first time you said, man, I'm riding with Christ, let's go. Homeless gentleman sitting there, I sit beside him. He said, how you doing? I said, man, I've seen better days. I said, how are you? He said, I'm great. I get up, I look down the sidewalk, and at this moment, there was nobody but Oprah and a security guard. talking about nobody else. She's walking toward me, I'm walking toward her. I get a couple of feet away, I stop. She grabbed my suit, said, "Hey, that's a nice suit." I said, "Thank you." I said, "I drove from Atlanta, I wanted to get you my book." She said, "Oh, cool, great." I said, "Would you mind taking a picture?" We take a picture. Her security says to me, said, "Hey, young man, come here." Stop, I went back to him. I said, "I just want to tell you something." He said, "What just happened never happens." He said, "Now, I don't know what's going to come out of it. I don't know book club, show. I don't know about any of that." He said, "But I just want to make sure I tell you what just happened never happens." I said, "Thanks." I'm like, what just happened? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I'm like, God, are we moving like that? Like, God, are we really moving to the point where I can get up in Atlanta, Georgia, look at my wife, don't know nobody in Chicago, don't know nobody on Oprah's staff, and look at my wife and say, I'm going to meet Oprah. I got a certain level of faith that I'm going to meet Oprah. And God puts me face to face with Oprah and puts the book in her hand. I said, God, let's go. And so now I live my life a certain type of way according to what God has done. I live my life a certain type of way according to the power that I know the Lord possesses. I live my life a certain type. Like when I go to the Lord in prayer, I go bold. When things happen to redirection, it's a part of the journey. It makes it even sweeter in the end when the purpose is greater and about something greater than you. In the words of an older gentleman, he told me one day, he said, young man, you can't speed up the river and you can't slow it down. At a certain point, you got to have some faith. How many times do we get redirected and we don't know what we're being protected from and we're fussing and we're mad about it? Redirection, bring it. Opposition, bring it. Life, what are you trying to teach me right now? Like, God, what can I extract from this situation since I don't like it and I don't understand it? I'm sure lessons and blessings, stages and phases, I'm sure it's something in it that I can extract and apply to some area of my life. James chapter 1, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kind, because the testing of your faith goes on to produce perseverance, and perseverance must finish its race so that you may be complete and lacking nothing. In other words, we got to go through something in order to become the individuals that God wants us to become.